If you work in a theme park, you're going to get a lot of silly and sometimes just dumb questions. And the train at Silver Dollar City was no exception. But we were allowed to have a little bit of fun with it there. Working in a theme park, you're just going to deal with guests who aren't sure where they are, aren't sure where things are or what's going on, and sometimes they aren't even really thinking things through when they come up and ask you questions. We would get a lot of questions that on the surface sometimes didn't sound silly, but when you started thinking about them, yeah, they were. We had a lot of fun being able to play with them. We were allowed to be a little bit obnoxious and snarky, not mean, and be able to kind of play along with the guests and lead them along until we got them laughing over how silly some of the questions were too. And then of course there were those that you just had to come up with a dumb response because they were crazy. So here are some of the questions we get on the train as well as around the park and our fun responses to them. And yes, we really did answer the questions this way. Excuse me, is this the train? No, this is the depot. The train's out there on the tracks. Where's the train? Out in the woods. Where's the train go? On the tracks. Okay, but when does it come back? When it's done. Can you tell me when's the next train? Yeah. I don't know. The funny thing on this one was they never seemed to notice that clock that was right there on the wall behind me that said when the next train was. How did you miss it? But then you learn too that guests don't read signs. They just don't. So when does it leave? When it's ready. How long is the train? 1 engine and 4 cars. That makes 6. How long does a trip take? It's 1 time around. And then there was this one. Does it go upside down? This here is a train. It's not a roller coaster. It don't be doing no weird flips or nothing. But it does have 1 loop. It goes this way. And then there was this classic. Is that a real train? Nope. It's just made of cardboard. We all cut it out. And then we get on, make lots of noises and pretend. Is that a real gun? Maud, it looks like a real gun. You wouldn't believe how often we got asked if the gun was real, or overheard people talking about it being a toy gun or a fake gun. No, it was a real 20 gauge shotgun. We modified it so that you couldn't put regular shotgun shells in it anymore, but it was a real gun. Trust me. Yeah, they may not have them out there now, but we most definitely did. Is that a real gun? That looks like a toy gun to me. Would you like me to show you up close and personal how real this gun is? Do I have to buy a ticket to go on the train? There used to be a time when they sold separate tickets to get on the train. In fact, those old windows at the front, that used to be the ticket windows. But they quit doing that a long time ago. So while you might run into some old-timers who would still remember it, most people don't. It's what that ticket up at the front gate was for. Excuse me, where can I buy a ticket to get on the train? Wait, you didn't buy a ticket to get into the park already? Because if you got that, that's all you need. I'm assuming you got that since they ain't thrown you out yet. We're not gonna get robbed on this train, are we? Rob? Rob? Who's Rob? We aren't gonna get robbed on this train ride, are we? You mean they didn't rob you up at the front gate already? That might be where the nickname Steal Your Dollar City came from. How do we get on the train? One step after another. Most of us walk, we try to keep people from running, and then you sit down and you slide, kind of like the Cupid Shuffle. Why are you closed? Well, only the good Lord Ichabod knows, but I think he's trying to add more moonshine to the engine. Have to talk to him, but he ain't going to be talking till he's fully liquored up. How can I find out if you've reopened? Well, our engines have these amazing little things on them called whistles, and when they're running, those whistles blow really loud and you can hear them for miles. So if you hear a whistle, it means that the train's probably running. But if you don't hear no whistles, there ain't no train going nowhere. Oh, and of course we can't forget these questions. Come on, you're not gonna really shoot me if I pull that cable, would you? Do you really want to find out? Well, do ya? You feeling lucky? Can we take our food and drinks on the train? You know, I have a hard time with this question. I understand it, but I don't. With the snack bar in the train depot selling food and snacks and drinks, did they really think that we were going to sell them something just to make them immediately turn it around and throw it away? I mean, we're not that mean. It's not like we're an international airline or anything. Can we take food on the train? Well, we got that snack bar over there that sells food and drinks and stuff, but yeah, the only way we're going to let you take it on the train is if you give it all to us first. Of course you can take it on the train. You just think you're real funny, don't you? Nope. My name's still George. Can't say I've met anybody named Funny. That'd be kind of funny to be named Funny, don't you think? I was only really asked this a couple of times by guests that I had missed the cues that they were starting to get aggravated. But in both cases, their families were eating it up. And once I replied with that, they would usually catch on. I mean, the one guy just lost it. The other one didn't until his kids started calling him, "Hey, Dad, Funny. Funny Dad. Hey, what's up, Funny?" And then he got it. Can you watch our grandchildren while we go on the ride? There's no reason to leave your kids behind on the train. Everybody can ride it with an adult. Even little babies can be held on the laps. Why would you leave your kids behind while you enjoy the ride and let them run wild? Not a good idea. Who was thinking this? I don't get some parents. I just don't. Would you watch our kids for us while we're on the train? No, sir. I am a conductor, not a babysitter. We don't offer them kind of services around here. If you sprouted them, you got to take them with you. But the questions didn't just end with the train. They applied to other parts of the park as well. When did they move the cave? I could have sworn it used to be over there. You know, it was kind of scary how often that question got asked. I mean, really scary. What were they thinking? Hey, when did they move the cave? Have you ever tried to move a cave? You dig a new one with your little shovel? Is all of the cave underground? I thought there was part of it that wasn't. What would you call a cave that's not underground? Would it be a ditch? Is all of the cave underground? Well, it didn't used to be, but we did cover up part of it recently to make it a little more cave-like. Do you know how many miles of unexplored passageways they have in that cave? Well, we don't really know. We sent Jim Bob out there about a year and a half ago to try to find out, and we haven't heard from him since. We're getting ready to send Bessie Sue out next. Because, you know, if they're unexplored, it means that we haven't had a chance to explore them enough to see how much there is. We don't know because we haven't explored it. The answer's in the question. Why are there so many hills? I'm so tired of walking on hills. Did they not look around and figure this out? They call it the Ozark Mountains for a reason. Yeah, they're foothills, but still. But can't they just like flatten it out a little bit? I mean, are you going to go around and level a whole hill? Who does that? Yeah, but can't they just like level it out or something? You see, when you walked in, that whole entrance area was over this thing called the Marvel Cave. And it's a national landmark. And if you flatten the park, you flatten the cave. And then there's lots of problems. No, the ride down there? How do I get to it? Oh, you mean Tom and Huck's? You can't get there from here. Yes, we really did love to tell them, you can't get there from here. Said it a lot. And then after we got the great reaction, then we would give them the real directions. Now, the real directions, however, meant sending them all the way around the park either direction. Because literally, you couldn't get straight there from where you're at the train. You had to go all the way around, the long way. Yeah. Wish there was a shortcut. Sorry. Where's the flooded mine? Well, did you look? When will it stop raining? Can't you do something about the rain? Well, you see, I do talk to the good Lord quite a bit, and I believe he talks to me, but he doesn't tend to give me weather reports. You can take it up with the man upstairs. But why is it so hot? Really? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? 'Cause it's summer. Summer tends to be hot, especially in Missouri. Why is it so cold? Well, did you look at the weather forecast? You know that snow on the ground? Maybe it's just a giveaway. Can't you do something about the weather already? Well, you see, that's a problem. You're probably going to have to take to upper management. Sorry, upper management. Yeah. Him. That's up to God. Why is it that so many people seem to think that theme park employees have some sort of shoo-in with the weather, some divine way to either predict or control it? I don't understand. We didn't have any more influence or knowledge over the weather than a Missouri weatherman does. And if you live in Missouri, you've heard your weathercasters on TV at times go, I don't know what it's going to do. Let's find out together. Yes, they really do sometimes. How do you get out of this park? I just keep going in circles and can't find my way out. Same way you came in. Through the entrance and exit, up the hill. Up the hill? Isn't there a way to get out where I could go down? I'm so tired of hills. Nope, it's up the hill. There's no way to go down to get up. We don't have one of them fancy moving stairways around here. That grandpa out in the woods, that was a robot, right? Really? That grandpa in the woods, he's a robot, ain't he? Are you a robot? Did the programming just fail there a little bit to come up with that great question? You're talking about my grandpa? That's my grandpa there. I'm still flabbergasted over this one. An animatronic in the woods that acts just like a person? No, Grandpa's a real dude. He really is. And you think you're something special just because you got all these smart aleck answers, don't you? Well, let me tell you something, buddy, about how many times my grandchildren ought to be shaking their boots off of this and that and the other thing. And yes, the number of times we got those questions was amazing. Multiple times a day. You would learn that some people ask them just to have the fun answers that we would give, but there are a lot of people, they didn't have a clue. So yes, you got to laugh and have some fun with it, and hopefully they did too, because That was kind of the intent. Have you heard silly questions that I didn't catch here? I would love to hear them below. Please share them in the description. There's a lot of info in that description as well, so be sure to check it out. I also want to give a huge shout out again to my YouTube members and my patrons. Their financial support means the world to me, helps me do good equipment so I get decent quality video and sound, as well as go on trips and stuff. They also get a number of perks. If you want to know more, be sure to check the description as well. I also want to give a huge shout out to my brand new patron, and I hope I don't mess up her last name too badly. So welcome Stacy Kutana? Kutani? I hope it's one of those. I'm so sorry for messing it up, Stacy, but thank you so much for signing on to Patreon. And thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.